Comadres, welcome to another episode of Comadreando podcast. I'm your host, Marcy, and today we have an amazing guest. Her name is Jormari, and I will let her introduce herself. Who are you?
Hi everyone, my name is Jormari Santana. I am a mother of two children on the autism spectrum. I am a wife to an amazing man. We've been married for 8 years now. And I am actually a leader of a women's ministry. And now I am starting to build up my content, creating more content and bringing more awareness and acceptance to the community of autism.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that. Okay,
Mhm.
so today's topic is challenging behaviors in children with autism. And the reason why this topic came up is because across the board, it doesn't matter what level of functioning your child is on. Um, Parents of kids on the spectrum have dealt with it in one way or another. Especially today, in light of what happened at a school, which we're gonna get to later on. Yeah, but before we get into that, we're gonna cover the bases. So you said your child is both of your children are on the spectrum. Do you want to talk a little bit about how old they are, and whether boys and girls or both boys, or just give
Right.
us a little bit more details about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Eliana is actually 5. She's turning 6 on August 16th, which I cannot believe it. I'm having a little emotional moment. And Jacob he actually just turned 3 this month. Eliana was actually diagnosed when she was a year and a half. I want to say, yeah, because it was 2018. And for that, I actually, with her, it's interesting because before all of this, before becoming a stay at home mom, I was actually, just a little background story. I was actually a teacher's assistant at a charter school from 2014 to 2017. And my mom, that time came around when Eliana turned 1 and she could no longer take care of her because my mom has some health conditions as far as, fibromyalgia and such. So Eliana was already growing, and you already know once they're toddlers, it's like a lot hands on. And she was like, I can no longer take care of her. So I decided to quit my job and, stay with her. But long story short, I actually used to have kids in the classroom with IEP. Never knew what an IEP was. Honestly, I was just there assisting the kids, giving them support, helping them with their work and all those type of things that a teacher's assistant does, without even thinking that I myself would have children on the spectrum. Because I'm pretty sure you feel the same way. Like, we don't prepare
Mm-hmm.
ourselves for such a journey. Like, we
Yeah.
really don't. It's something that just, you know, God is just like, here you go.
Yeah.
And as a believer and a woman of faith, I do believe God was definitely preparing me all along. Like, literally, I didn't know, but once I get hit with my daughter's diagnosis, I looked back and I was like, well, this makes sense why I encounter children on the spectrum. It was almost like God knew, so he had to prepare me without me knowing. We were just going with the flow. And then I get her diagnosis, and we begin the whole journey of early intervention. um, well, she started early intervention before she even had the diagnosis. So once the doctor expressed the concern to me, he didn't fully give me the whole diagnosis, but he was like, we have some concerns of autism. Then that's when I was like doing my research, like any mom, we're on Google. I'm like, oh my gosh, what exactly is autism? How can I help her? I want to give her all the help I can. Um, Started her in early intervention and all that stuff, and the journey began. And then Jacob was actually diagnosed last November, so November 2021. And same thing, similar signs, I would say.
Yeah. um
It's a lot.
and no, it's not a lot. It's how do I put it? It's just, everybody has similar journeys, and then the way that we arrive there, it it's in different ways, you know what I'm saying? So, I'm just glad that they were able to get early intervention and to get their diagnosis, and that they're receiving the services that they need right now.
Right.
um how was your family? Did you have support from your family? I know your husband has been there for sure, but
Mm-hmm.
like any other family members that have been supportive throughout the process?
Honestly, just my in-laws and my parents. And of course, my brothers, they love their niece and nephew. But I have to give a shout out to my in-laws and my parents. They have been our biggest support. I mean, from the moment we expressed to them the well, I would say with my daughter, because that was the start. She was the first one. From the moment we expressed the diagnosis to them, they were like hands on, like, what can we do? Okay. I mean, we literally had to have a sit down with them and explain to them what is autism. To me, it's not an illness.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a different ability. It's just a different way they view the world.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something I'm trying to make sure people understand. My children are different, and they came into this world with a purpose despite of a diagnosis.
Yes.
That's not going to determine their future. And I want any mom that's listening and any dad to understand that if your child has an autism diagnosis, it's not going to determine whether they can be somebody or not. They can and they will be somebody with the diagnosis or without a diagnosis.
It's true.
So I set my family down, my parents and my in-laws, because my family's kind of spread all over. So really here in PA, who we have is my in-laws and my parents. And I'm really
Mm.
close to my mom. My dad actually lives in Florida. So my parents were divorced when I turned 7. So my mom, my stepdad, and like I said, my in-laws are the ones we have. But when I tell you that when we sat down and explained to them, because you got to think about it, back then, it wasn't such a big deal.
Yeah.
There wasn't as much resource, or I guess it wasn't as talked about, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Back in their time. So, to try to explain to them coming from a different generation is like, it was challenging, especially my parents, my in-laws too, they're both Spanish.
Mm-hmm.
But my mother-in-law and my father-in-law, they understand perfect English, not my mom. So I feel like trying to explain to a Puerto Rican mom what autism is and
Girl,
the challenges. Can we talk about it real quick?
like let me tell you something. I'm gonna tell you something right now that honestly, my mom is a teacher. My mom's a teacher, and she had never heard of autism before. So it was kind of like
Wow.
I'm educating myself, and I'm educating her and the rest of the family too. You know, like kind of breaking down those stigmas regarding special education, and breaking down those stigmas about how we're raised to think about people with special needs in our communities of Black and brown
Right.
people. Because
Mm-hmm.
across the board, from anybody that I talk to, and it doesn't matter what country they're from, it could be Dominican Republic, it could be Puerto Rico,
Mm-hmm.
it could be anywhere,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
they all carry this certain way of thinking of people with special needs because of the way that we've been socialized.
Mm-hmm.
I the episode that I did before regarding stigmas in the community, we talked a lot about that, and it has a lot to do with the machismo,
Yeah.
when people don't want to admit that their children are different, and then
Mm-hmm.
the way that people look at you, kind of like, I assume, and that's not how our children
Mm-hmm.
should be looked at.
Absolutely. So, or their thing is to, they'll, they're gonna grow. They're still little. I
Why
remember
are
in
you
the
getting them
beginning.
diagnosed? Why are you getting them diagnosed?
Right.
No.
I
Eso
know,
no
and
es
I
nada.
remember,
My son
right,
didn't talk till he was 5. What?
right. I know. And you know what? Like, I know my mom in the beginning, and I'm talking about way in the beginning when I noticed like very early signs in Eliana, like maybe 7 months, the hand flapping. I mean, she has started doing that very early on, even before the doctor even mentioned anything. But I was just kind of like,
When
oh,
she got
maybe
excited,
she
she used to
is
go
too
like
young.
this.
Yeah, she still does. She
Just like
still
vertically
does.
up in the air, or does she?
Yep.
Okay. Aww.
Oh, she gets really excited. And then now she does the noise, with her voice.
She stims with her voice.
Ah! Oh my gosh, so loud. And sometimes when we're in public, I'm like, Ellie, oh my God, inside voices. She don't understand what they mean.
No, of course.
For her, I feel like you tell her that and it's like more outside. So yeah. And Jacob too, they stimulate a lot with their voice and sounds and stuff. But I remember my mom was like, ay, Nani, ella está chiquita todavía, deja que siga creciendo, eso no es nada. And I was like, I don't know. And you don't want to disrespect your parents, of course. Like my mom was very strict on us, like from day one. She'll be like, you talk back to me, you're getting popped right in your mouth, okay? It don't matter where you were. So we've always grown to have that respect towards my mom. So I feel like a lot of the things I will keep to myself. And you kind of shut down because you're like,
you didn't feel
are they ever going to get it?
Mm-hmm.
Right. Are they ever going to get it? But let me tell you, the time went on and she got the diagnosis and we explaining, oh man, my mom, te amo, madre. Te amo. Because I know she's probably going to try to listen.
Of course, yeah.
But I literally am beyond grateful because my husband and I don't go on dates unless her or my mother-in-law are available.
Yeah.
Like, it's so hard for us. Now it's 2. It's so hard for us.
Girl, speak on
to
it. To
just be like, here you go. I'm
keep
out.
That kid over there.
Because it's not your typical toddler. Mm-hmm. Like, you literally could just be like, oh, here you go. Yep, they use the bathroom so-and-so time. That's it. No, for my kids, I need to have a whole list. Okay, when Jacob does this is what it means. This is what he's trying to communicate to you. Okay?
Yeah.
Even my husband's still learning because when you look at it, I'm home all day with them. And my husband's at work. So there are times that we will have arguments and it'd be for the silliest things.
And you have like these little nuances with them because you already, since you're around them like 24/7, you already understand certain things. And since he's not there all the time, not because he doesn't want to be there, obviously he does.
Right.
But it's just, it's different like being with somebody 24 hours a day rather than just like, in the afternoon after you come out of work. So I understand that completely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so there could be some frustrations. And I think, and I guess, those that are married, could understand. Like it's hard because you really have to balance so much out. I mean, I haven't seen my friends in a couple months. I see my friends from church because we go to church and it's like hi and bye because you're rushing with the kids.
You have your hands full.
But it's not the same. And I'm such a social person that I miss, being with my friends. And not that my kids are stopping me. It's just not as easy for me to just be like, here you go, I'm out. I mean, just the other day, actually, I don't know if you saw my story. It was or I think we started following each other after the fact. But my husband was getting a procedure done. And Eliana was just off the hook. I mean, that whole week, she was already having meltdowns after meltdowns after meltdowns. Nena, when I tell you that we're like, I'm in the car and I call the doctor and I say, hey, I thought this procedure was, 30 minutes. I'm out here still waiting for my husband. My kids are going crazy. They're both on the autism
you were with them you were with them in the car?
Yes. In my car for like 2.5 hours, girl.
That's a long time.
Yeah, because the place is like 45 minutes from us. So I was not going to come home if the procedure is only supposed to take 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Girl, go to Starbucks. She calmed down because she loves her cake pops. So I say, bingo, let's go to Starbucks. Jacob is going nuts. Not even the phone is helping him. So, I mean, it was just so much that day I was legit at a breakdown. And let me tell you, girl, I've been dealing with it for what? You could say going on 6 years already. And I never got to that point. So for me to ask for help, as vocal as I am and friendly and whatnot, I can't do it. Not even my mom. So that day, that I just see it as a purpose, not even a coincidence. My mom is like, ay, yo quiero ver los nenes. I want to see the kids. Okay, mom, I'm on my way from Tony's procedure. And I think she could hear it in my voice. That
Yeah.
it's one of those conversations, you're talking to somebody, you could just hear it.
You hear the energy on their voice.
Yep. I said, okay, mom, come on over. She's like, tú estás tratando a mi yerno bien. You know, like she always asking me because she know I have like a tough character and I could have an attitude. And I was like, well, you know what? No. Yesterday was a very hard day. Now that was for us Latina women. That's vulnerable moment for you to just open up with especially your mom, and just be like, nope, yesterday was a rough day with your spouse.
Yeah.
Because this is marriage. Like, they don't got to get involved.
Yeah, no, of course.
But I just felt that, you know, I legit felt myself just saying, you need to just speak up. You need help. Like, you need time for yourself right now. And I'm glad I listened to that. And she's like, ¿Qué pasó, mami? I said, Mom, yesterday was just a very rough day with Eliana. She had a rough night. Then this morning, she was not having it. I'm done. Girl, I broke down crying. My mom was like, don't cry. You're going to make me cry. ¿Quiere que me la lleve? I'll bring her with me today. You know, girl, she took her for the rest of the day.
Oh, my God. Good.
When I tell you, it was like fresh air. I said, thank you, God, because I needed that.
Listen.
And then I'm missing her, though.
And that's real. Listen, but this is the thing. As Latinas, as women of color, as Black and brown people, is not looked well usually when we ask for help. But the thing is that, then this is what I've been trying to drive home with this show, is that you can't pour from an empty cup. You have to ask for help. And that doesn't mean you're a bad mom. That does not mean you want to escape your responsibilities. Look at you, what you're saying. You're saying that you missed her. And she was giving you candela. And I'm going to tell you right now, you're telling me the story and I'm putting myself in your shoes and I'm just like, girl.
I know you get it.
Girl. I'm like, Because people, like, it's not a joke. And then the thing is that we never want to get to the point that we disassociate. You know, we never want to get to that point. So it is essential. It is of the utmost importance. Ask for help. Even if you gotta listen, if you gotta send me a DM and be like, Marcy, I need to take 5 minutes and talk on the phone. Girl. Send me that DM because I will call you on video call and we could chat it out. Because like, and then the thing is that other people don't understand. Other people don't understand. Like they could try to be there for you and they could try to understand and empathize, yes. Pero que autism mom to autism mom, like there's certain things that don't need to be spoken. Like I felt, you're telling me the story and I felt like I was there. Like honestly, because like I understand. So yeah, never, oh my goodness. No, it's a lot. It's a lot.
Yeah, I definitely... And that's what told me. And she texted me and she said, Mommy, please, you know, whenever you feel like this or La Nena's having a rough time, please let me know. You know, I'll come, Nani. Don't ever, you know, hesitate. And I think that's the moment where my mom really understood, you know, that it really takes a village. Like, you just can't do this alone. You just can't. You cannot. You need, you know, my pastor always says this, you need community.
Yes.
You need a community, you know, to do life together because you cannot do life alone. And I don't think we're not meant to do life alone.
No.
You know, we're meant to do life with other people and have a community, especially family, you know. But like you said, I have so many friends and I know so many people, but it's like they don't all have kids on the spectrum. You know, it's interesting because most of my friends have, you know, neurotypical children. It's so interesting because you would think I'll have all these autism mama friends, you know. I do, but a lot of them are like outside. You know, they're not in my city. So it's like, it's so hard. And, you know, it's not the same. So when I post things, and that day, I think it was my first time in a very long time, in a couple of years since I've posted Eliana actually having a meltdown. Because that's another vulnerable part for us to do and expose that part of our lives and the autism journey to social media. Because there could be a lot of negative Nellies around. No, you know what I'm talking about. Did you want
No,
to say?
no, no, no. I wanted to no, because the thing is, like, a lot of people have a lot of things to say, and I want to. I just want to. I don't know if you listened to this episode, but there was this one time I was at the First Church of America in Dominican Republic, right, with my kid, and
Oh
he's having a
wow.
full blown meltdown, like
Was
it
it
was
you that
like
mentioned that
he
on Camille's
was,
live?
yeah, he was having a full blown meltdown in the church. Okay,
Please don't.
me dijeron you need to go, right? And instead of people trying to help me, they were like, oh, I'll take him. Yo te lo arreglo. I'll take him for a week and I'll set him straight. And I'm like, yo, that's not helpful. How do you think that that's helpful in that moment? And then that's what I'm saying. So, like, there's
Oh
like certain facets of autism, like especially in the media. People are like,
yeah.
like my baby's just quirky, my kid's just awkward or whatever. Which is that's valid autism too. But the thing is that there's
Mhm.
there's other facets of autism. There's it's
Right.
not the I say this on my show all the time. It's not the sexy autism. It's
Right.
not the good
Mm-hmm.
doctor. It's not atypical, and there's certain aspects that people cannot relate to, and honestly, it's all valid.
Mm-hmm.
And then the thing is, we need to be for here for each other. And I love the fact that you said about building community. So,
Mm-hmm.
comadres, I usually tell people how I meet my comadres. So I met Jormari because we got connected via Camille, which is
Mm-hmm.
Moments of Joy from Moments of Joy
Yes.
podcast, correct?
Mm-hmm.
She was having a live, and I actually hopped on to tell her thank you for helping us create this community, and
Oh,
she
welcome.
connected me and Jamari, um, and that's how, like, we've been following each other ever since. But like,
Yes.
it's really important to create community, and honestly, this is like part of my goals in the podcast is just to have a community of comadres that, even if it's digitally or like via FaceTime or whatever,
Yeah.
you hit me up, you're
Mm-hmm.
like, yo, girl, let me tell you what happened today. And I'm going to be here for you. And I'm not going to judge you, because at the end of the day, we're all humans. We're not
Yes.
saints. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yes. You.
that image of perfection needs to be done away
Mm-hmm.
with, because
Mm-hmm.
nobody's perfect.
Exactly. And it's crazy because I didn't even know it was you that mentioned that
Mm-hmm.
on the live with Camille.
Mm-hmm.
She posted it on her status on Facebook. And I reshared it and I did my own caption on top of hers. Girl, I was heated because on Facebook, I do have a big community of Christian followers just because I have music ministry.
Yeah.
I actually released 2 songs this past year. And, I grew up in church my whole life, so that's all I've known.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and my family, my mom is a woman of prayer, a woman of faith. So when I saw that and my mom seen that, she saw my status, she reshared it. And I mean, she's like, so angry. She's like coming at the church, like, and I was like, oh no. But you know what? Like, one thing I did post on there, and you can go see it because I even had people from the church like commenting. And I said it, I put my church on blast, like thanking them because I have
Yeah.
to be so grateful for my church. I actually left my childhood church for the reason that they didn't have their children's ministry, I guess, build up to the way where I knew my daughter would need it.
Yeah.
So when my son was only 6 months old, I left. I left and I was there for years. I'm 28. I was there since I was 11,
Mm.
serving nonstop, teaching teen girls. We did Sunday school. I was in the worship team. I mean, just involved big time. God sends me to this church, which is much bigger church,
Mm-hmm.
American church. It's multicultural. We have different cultures. And girl, when I tell you, Marcy, from the moment I walked in there, I
You felt
just
like
felt
you were
such
home.
peace.
Yep.
Yes, because number one, I don't care about me. I know my purpose in life. I know what God wants to do with me. I know what my vision, what I want to do, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not my kids. They're not there yet.
Yep.
They're still growing. I need them to be somewhere that I know it's going to feed them, life. It's going to speak life to them, right? And they're not going to feel judged. They're not going to feel like, oh, I'm different and they're looking at me a certain way. No. I used to go to an all Spanish church. So when you look at it, like we were saying, they don't know much about this topic. They really don't. And it's a shame because they focus on other things spiritually that we forget. Reality, it's right in front of us. We're going to get families from all different places. We're going to get families with children in wheelchairs. And are you prepared to take care of that?
Not only that, but the wheelchair, I feel like people with a visible disability is easier for people to have compassion for them as opposed to a non-visible disability. Our children have disabilities that are not, you can't just look at our kids and be like, oh, that's an autistic child. There is no look.
Right.
So the thing is that for me, my biggest gripe with where I was attending is that, you know, you have to show we're teaching compassion, right? We're teaching compassion for our fellow human beings, and we're doing all of these things, right? We're worshiping God and all that, but we're not showing compassion to each other, and we're not leading with love, right? That was my biggest thing, you know. Here in America, like, we were going to a church and they had a separate room where I had to be with my son. And I get it. I get people want to worship in silence or whatever the case may be, but kids are kids. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that was like one of my biggest gripes. But going back to the topic, sorry.
Yeah, I know.
we went on a tangent. But
it's just because it touched me.
No, I know.
And I'm really sensitive when it comes to that because I know what I had to go through in my transition. So it's hard. It's hard. But that's a live that I'm actually planning to do because we need to educate the church. I mean, it's just, I think that's why I'm in my journey.
There's some churches that have like a training program for the leaders of the church, right, to learn. But not every church does that. So it's like, you know, not only churches, but like police departments.
Everywhere.
Like everywhere needs to get educated about our kids, because at the end of the day, we can teach our kids to be in the world, or we can teach the world to work with our kids. And I feel like teaching the world to work with our kids is better, because at the end of the day, our kids have a lot of things that they cannot control, but an adult that's neurotypical can control themselves, and they can educate themselves in a certain way to learn how to be more.
That's right.
More kind, right?
I agree.
Okay, so a little birdie told me you're interested in that field.
Because you're just knowing me. I actually have started in April, not too long ago, a coaching business to be a life coach, goal setting coach. I mean, I took a few courses online, like just give you resources and stuff, nothing crazy, just to have some type of education on it. And it was going okay. You know, I feel like I was posting so much, I was doing all these reels, and I didn't see too much movement coming. And I just really started praying, and I'm like, you know what? Like, God, you know my passion. And I think anybody knows this. I love to worship. That's number one. Singing is my thing. And believe it or not, Eliana loves to sing. She loves to sing. And I had the music and stuff like that, but I was like, do I really want to do this long term? You know, I don't know. And then I remember my daughter's BT started with her.
Wait, can you explain to the audience what is a behavioral technician?
Yeah, so a behavioral technician is somebody that gives support to children on the spectrum. They give them that one-on-one support, and we focus a lot on behavior, you know, helping them decrease a certain behavior or de-escalate, I guess that's a better word, de-escalate meltdown. So, you know, just giving the family strategies and helping them with ideas on what could help their child, especially when they're in public.
Do you think you're gonna go
passion?
Do you think you're gonna go for your BCBA eventually to become applied behavior? No,
I'm laughing because I was literally thinking about it, and I keep looking. Like, I follow a bunch of BCBAs and RBTs on Instagram, you know, and I was thinking about it. You know, they told me, like, if I want to take the exam to be registered as a BT, that I can, and they'll pay for it. And I'm pretty sure I got to see how they'll do as far as BCBA. I know it's a lot of work with the BCBA. Like, it's definitely a lot more than BT, because you have, you know, you got to oversee and stuff like that.
Yeah. So just for the people that are not familiar with what a BCBA is, and I'm going to give you the textbook definition. It is a board certified behavior analyst. BCBA is a person with a certification in applied behavior analysis. BCBAs receive the certification through the Behavior Analyst Certification Board. Applied behavior analysis uses scientific and systematic processes to help influence an individual's behavior. But they have a degree in that, and basically they're teaching replacement behaviors to children. So whatever problem behaviors your child is exhibiting, the BCBA will take data initially. They'll come up with a behavior plan and they'll teach them replacement behaviors.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, so we can talk I'm gonna like highlight some of the behaviors that we can see in children in autism, which is usually like what we see in the street, and people are like, what's wrong with your kid, right? So we can see things like aggression, right? So that can consist of hitting, scratching, or biting others. Self-harm, which is like hitting or biting themselves. Destruction of property or things, so throwing or breaking objects. Pica, which is a little bit more rare, is eating inedible objects. A lot of the pica that I see in the school, the kids chew on pencils or they eat paper. Or Aiden had a moment at one point. Was he 4 or 3? He used to like to eat hair. So whatever hair,
really?
Yes, it was weird. Whatever hair, I think he liked the sensation in his mouth of like the whatever. Which yo no quiero saber. I don't want to know nothing about no hair, no fur, no nothing in my mouth, nothing. So for me, I'm just like, oh, But yeah. So eating inedible objects. Elopement. Yeah. Which is running away or wandering off, which is a big one in the community. Tantrums or meltdowns, which we call them, because they're not really tantrum. It's not that they're just like, wait, I can't get my way, I'm just gonna throw myself on the floor. No, it's like sensory overload. I don't know how to process this, so my only way to show that I'm upset is by having a full blown meltdown. And screaming as well. So a lot of kids verbally scream. I had a kid that was he was nonverbal. All he would do is scream, but it wasn't like a regular scream. It was like Mariah Carey screaming. Like if Mariah Carey would scream high pitch all the time. But then he couldn't verbalize. I felt so bad with this little boy. This was when I was an assistant teacher, working in District 75. Oh. Yeah, so these behaviors, if you're not teaching the child a replacement behavior, can become overwhelming for parents in the school setting. You don't want to have to be called in all the time. So definitely teaching replacement behaviors. I like ABA. A lot of people are against it. Me too. A lot of people are against it because they say it's like treating your child like they're a pet or something, but it's more than that. Like you can't just look at the outer thing, right? The whole ABA approach is basically you're pairing with the child, you're figuring out what the child is motivated by, and that could be a toy, it could be dancing, it could be movement, anything that makes them really, really happy. And once you figure that out, then you can come up with a replacement behavior plan, right? So instead of throwing yourself on the floor, you're teaching the child how to verbalize if they can. Right. Or, any other type of replacement behavior that's quote unquote socially acceptable. I feel like ABA can teach kids masking in a way. What do you think about that? Because they're
I guess, like, give me an example.
So masking, I don't know if you are aware, but like a lot of adults with autism say that they mask a lot, which is basically they're hiding who they really are to make themselves more acceptable by neurotypical people. So for example, I had an adult with autism on the show that she does a lot of the hand flapping, right? To self-soothe. But she knows that when she's talking to neurotypicals, that'll freak them out. So she like stops herself from doing that until she's alone. And then when she's alone, she just hand flaps all the time. So So, like, I don't know. I feel like that's a question for you and for me, like, to think about. Like, are we really teaching them replacement behaviors? Are they really changing the way they're behaving, or are we just teaching them how to mask better to be acceptable by neurotypical people?
You know what? That's a really good point. I feel, you know, for me, it depends the ABA therapist.
Mm-hmm.
And also companies, because there could be companies that are very like, you have to sit down, this is what you need to do. Where my kids get services from, which is called SPIN. SPIN stands for Special People in the Northeast, and that's actually here in Philadelphia where I live.
Mm-hmm.
And they get ABA services from them. And when I tell you, Marcy, I've been so grateful. Number one, you already know I'm a huge advocate. So I noticed something out of the norm, it's a no. You needs to go.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember Miss Esther, such a sweet BHT. They call them BHT. She was such a sweetheart with Eliana. I mean, if Eliana needed a break, she's like, okay, just one more, just one more. What is this, Ellie? And Eliana will have to look down and tell her what is, what's in the picture. And if she
Yeah.
says dog, she'll get up and she's like, okay, Eliana gets 5-minute break. And I love that. And that's something that I love when it comes to ABA. And that's why when moms tell me, oh, I'm not for ABA, I feel like, it hasn't been my experience. My experience has been so different. So I can
Mm-hmm.
only talk positive about it.
Yeah. I mean, I love
When you say
ABA.
masking, I haven't seen them like telling my daughter, you can't do this. You can't. They are trying to help her calm down a little more when it comes to, because she does not the flapping, but more of the screaming in public,
Mm.
because she gets really loud and it can become disruptive
Mm.
when when the teacher's giving a class or something, and that makes sense. I don't want her to be all loud and crazy, in the middle of the teacher teaching.
Mm-hmm.
I want her to pay attention. And I think Ellie is still struggling with trying to regulate herself
Yeah.
and when not to get so excited, when it's the right time, pretty much. Because she's still not, she's not there yet,
Yeah.
and I say yet
I
because I
love
know
that.
she will get there.
Yeah.
She will get there, right? So, she's still a kid, she's only going to turn 6. But she's come such a long way, Marcy. I can tell you, just the potty training alone. Let me just say, I mean, wow.
Girl, speak on it. Cause Mira.
You
Whew.
have a boy, right?
Yes.
You have a boy?
Yeah.
Listen, I gotta deal with it with Jacob eventually. Then I'll be calling you like, okay, this is where I do need your help.
Girl. And let me tell you, none of the stuff worked until I went bare bottom, like no underwear, no nothing at all. He was walking around with his little ding-a-ling swinging for like a whole weekend. And he would pee on the, like, eventually he learned, okay, I have to pee. I don't have a diaper on. I have to go, and then he learned how to go to the bathroom. The number 2 in the bathroom took a little bit longer. But
Yeah.
yeah, by the time he went to pre-K, he was using the restroom, but it took a while. It took a long
Oh yeah.
time.
Oh yeah. And I feel like with girls, it's so different. Because us, we gotta clean every part.
Mm-hmm.
So we're in the cleaning phase now. Liana, I give her the paper. And I'm laughing because she does this every time. She looks at herself. And then she looks in the toilet to see if the paper did fall inside the toilet.
Oh my god!
And she gets so excited when she flushes the toilet.
Oh my god, I love it.
When it goes down, and I'm like, Eliana, what is so excited about the toilet going down?
Aiden was fascinated by the toilet, but homie did not want to use it for number 1. He was just. Wait, hold on. I have never told the story on the show. So we had this, the Lego Duplo set, the chunky Legos.
Mm-hmm.
So we had a whole, because he loves animals. So I got him a zoo one. So Mr. Aiden had the whole zoo, right? And then there was like a penguin exhibit. And the penguin exhibit had ice. And those Legos were clear. And since he knew that ice was made of water, Mr. Aiden decided to flush those Legos down the toilet. So he would love to throw them down the toilet. And the amount of iPod touches that he threw in the toilet was not 1 or 2. I'm telling you, if somebody would have been like, Marcy, invest in Apple. When Aiden was born, girl, I would have had money.
Hello. Come on now.
Okay.
Listen, Eliana, actually, me and Tony were talking about that. And Tony's my husband. We were talking about that the other day, like how amazing Eliana has been doing. Like I feel like I went into the potty training phase freaking out because I did not know what to expect.
Of course.
Okay. When a typical mom, of a typical child is telling me, like Michael, my goddaughter's mom, we've been sisters for years. We grew up in the same church and stuff. And when I'm like, sis, what did you do with Milani? She's like, oh, sis, it's going to be good. She's going to get it. And I'm like, do you understand? Our daughters are completely different, although they're the same age. Milani's like up here. Liana's still like halfway. Yeah. She's like, no, sis, she's going to get it. And I said, oh, okay, I guess, whatever. Anyways, but you know what? Ella no se prendió. She surprised us. She surprised us, and me and Tony were like, man, we weren't ready, but she for sure was ready.
Because girls, regardless of what, even if they're not, even if they're what is it, neurodivergent, they are still a little bit more advanced.
Yeah. Yes. And
I don't want to offend anybody, but it's just girls in general are a little bit more mature than boys for the most part. So I feel like girls on the spectrum, when they're higher functioning like Eliana, they get it. Like
like she got it so fast. Right. No, for real. Like I'm looking at Jacob and I'm like, man, he is so behind. Like he's pretty delayed compared to Eliana when she was that age, when she was 3. I mean, I look at Eliana's videos. I was just on my Instagram the other day and I'm creating highlights for them, like memories from when they were younger. And I go all the way up. I've had this Instagram since 2018. And I go all the way up when she was getting early intervention services. And I'm like, oh my God, Ellie actually participated. She was interested in putting the blocks in. And I look at Jacob. I mean, it's hard to not compare them. Yeah, come on now.
I was going to say
they're siblings. Because I know some people are like, you should never compare.
We try not to, but it's human nature. You have to basically.
It is.
You already have like what is it? The experiential data, right? You have the experiential data with Eliana, and you're gonna look at Jacob like,
exactly.
Not necessarily saying it's a good or a bad thing. It's just you're just noting that there is a difference,
right? And that I'm accepting.
Yeah,
I'm understanding that he is much different than his sister, although they have the same diagnosis.
And that's where the spectrum comes in, like people not one person on the spectrum, you just know one person on the spectrum. Not every person on the spectrum is going to present with the same comorbidities, with the same behaviors. Like even this list of behavior, I can tell you that maybe Aiden engaged in the aggression, pica, the elopement, some tantrums,
right?
Like 4 out of the list, and that's not even all of them. There's some other ones, right? And these behaviors can go from like not too severe to extreme, right? There was that kid that who was on the spectrum, that ran out of the school, and I know they weren't supervising him, and he ended up in the river, pobrecito. They were looking for him for weeks. So it can be something as tough. Extreme as that, so
right.
The thing is with the behaviors is that it's challenging for you, and it can prevent your child from reaching their full potential. So like having a child that engages in those kind of problem behaviors, it's important to have a BT, a behavioral therapist, a behavioral technician, a behavioral technician, a BCBA, somebody that helps you teach your child the replacement behavior, so that the daily tasks can get a little bit more attainable for them. I'm going to tell you right now that if Aiden hadn't received early intervention and ABA when he did, I don't think he would be as advanced as he is right now.
I'm with you. Honestly, I applaud them every time, and I'm forever grateful for them. And I tell them their job is huge. It's not just any job. You are building relationships with these families. And I'm just so excited that when I start and I meet these new moms, I mean, I could just see it in their face already.
Yeah.
Like, they're going to be so elated the fact that they have a mom that has 2 kids on the spectrum, who's dealing with ABA currently, still in it. I have a BCBA myself who I'm dealing with. Like, I think they're just going to be like, what? I've literally been praying, like, God, just give me the right family. I just want to have, like, whatever families he decides to put in my path, I just know it's going to be with a purpose. And I just want to be nothing but a fresh air for them, a blessing, and just where they can feel like I can vent with this therapist, because it's not just a girl that just graduated college. No offense to those current college graduates.
Yeah.
Bless your soul for even wanting to enter this journey. But it's so different when you have a mom who's in the journey and it's also working with your child. I mean, I just think I feel like my journey is going to be so unique and just bring valuable content for my fellow moms that may not be able to receive ABA, because there are some states that are still struggling, and we have to recognize that.
In New York, as soon as your kid is school age, they take away the ABA because they don't provide it in the schools. So you basically, like, once your kid reaches kindergarten age, ABA is done.
What?
Yeah.
I did not know that. New York?
You have to advocate for yourself to get it. And they say that it's covered by insurances now, which is something I'm actually gonna look into to see if that is.
Yeah, my kids get it through. I don't pay for ABA. My kids got secondary insurance, and that's something I try to advocate about on social media as well to the moms, because a lot of them, when I first spoke about it, they didn't know about it. They were like, oh, I didn't know I could get free diapers through insurance. I didn't know I said, absolutely. Hello, we get boxes every month.
Girl,
Eliana's still not fully potty trained, so I'm still getting those pull-ups.
That is good to know. Listen, we're gonna put the links in the show notes. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I can definitely send you the link of I actually use Bright Medical. Here in PA, they're here in PA, but if you guys call them, you guys can search it up on Google, Bright Medical. You search them up and you gonna click on the number, which I can't recall the number, but it's gonna, the lady's gonna be talking and she's gonna tell you what number to dial. You're gonna click the number that says diapers and commerce and something like that. You're gonna hear diapers. Once you hear that, you're gonna contact them and you're gonna let them know I'm interested in receiving diapers. Now, you do have to go through your pediatrician. So you have to mention it to your pediatrician. At least here in PA, the child has to be 3 and older in order to receive that.
Okay.
Pediatrician makes a note and states the diagnosis. They can't tell you no. I mean, they just can't. Eliana's been getting them since she was 3. She's going to be 6. Jacob, I'm in the process of getting his as well since he just turned 3. But what I wanted to say was, because I lost myself when we were talking about potty training and positive reinforcement. I love positive reinforcement. I mean, I do that every single day with my daughter. So when I was learning on it with the 40-hour training that I had to complete, I was like, dang, I'm already doing this with Eliana. And I do it, y'all. You know what I do? She loves fruit snacks. She can't live without fruit snacks or chips. She goes, I want to eat chips. I want to eat fruit snacks all day long. So I'm like, okay, so we're going to sit on the potty. So that's positive reinforcement. She sits on the potty. She starts pointing at the gummies because she knows I'm sitting on the potty. Mommy's going to give me fruit snacks. So that's a perfect example of positive reinforcement. She's getting something that she really loves because she's doing something I want her to do and that she's supposed to be doing in order to get that reward.
And I'm going to add to that. It's every human on this planet does not do anything unless they're getting something for it. We go to work not because we love our job. I mean, I do love my job, but I wouldn't do it if it was for free. I'm going to tell you right now. I wouldn't be showing up, teaching 30 plus kids if it was free. Right? So our reinforcement is money, right?
That paycheck.
And the satisfaction of working with children and helping the community, whatever. But our prime reinforcement is money. So if you take that money out of the equation, where do you go to work?
Right.
No, right?
We gotta be real because you're not going to be as motivated.
Exactly. So
there's going to be a motivation.
Exactly. So the positive reinforcement basically is the money for the kids. The kids don't give a crap about money, whatever. Give them the fruit snacks. Give them the goldfish. So, and then one thing I wanted to say about the behavior is that the behavior is, the purpose is for communication. So either they're communicating that they're upset, or that they need something, or they want something. that there's a purpose to the behavior. It's not just because your kid's trying to misbehave or being quote unquote bad,
Right.
which I don't like using that word.
No.
You know? So yeah, definitely. So I love that reinforcing appropriate behaviors, right? By rewarding them.
Yeah. Yeah, like Eliana loves to go outside. Loves to go outside. And that could be very hard for her because, girl, she puts her Crocs on. She's right in front of the door. Like, she's okay, like, where are you going?
So demon.
With bata and everything, sis. Okay, she got her bata on. Okay, her nightgown. For those that don't understand, she got her nightgown on. Crocs. Hair a hot mess because she got curly hair. Okay, come on. I said, God, really? You had to send her with curly hair, not straight hair like me. Come on, man. Like, I don't know how to deal with curly hair. You know, you got you. Please, sis, because you know I'll be struggling a little bit. Listen, because she's so sensitive with her head that when it comes to wash day and I have to detangle her hair, she's getting better. But Eliana's thing of showing her emotion is doing this. And she puts that pressure.
Puts pressure on her chin.
Always. That's her way. So imagine having a whole meltdown and so emotional and then doing that. And that's what she does. Yeah. She also has mood swings, which I'm not sure if your son used to do them a lot, where she's like cracking up by herself. Nobody's making her laugh. And all of a sudden she throws herself on the ground and just starts crying. I'm like, you were just laughing.
The thing is that...
So that's very common with autism too.
And they're processing things in a different way. So like, I remember one time, what the hell was he watching? He was watching you. No. It was Ni Hao Kailan, girl. He was watching Ni Hao Kailan.
Oh my God.
And it was the episode where Rintu hurt himself. And Mr. Aiden estaba inconsolable. He was inconsolable. He was crying like he was the one that broke his own leg. And I'm like, what is happening? Like, couldn't understand. Then I sit down with him. I'm watching the episode. And I'm like, oh, Rintu broke his leg. So Mr. Aiden estaba lo grito. Like, crying hysterically because Rintu broke his leg. And I had to, like, start, like... So, as part of the ABA, right? I learned, okay... You know, you have to, you know, tell him it's okay to have the feelings, right? But then teach him, hey, you remember, this is pretend. This is not real. Rintu's not really hurt. Look, he's smiling afterwards. You know, and just keep repeating and repeating until it starts to like graba. And then that behavior, he doesn't do that anymore. He still has moments that he's in his feelings that he just likes to watch sad stuff and cry. Like, he has days like that. And I'm just like, papi, but really? But he'll just like, he's like, he'll watch Yo Gabba Gabba. And there's an episode.
Is he talking?
Oh, no se calla. He lost all his words at the beginning. Yeah, he lost all his words at the beginning. And then now I can't get him to be quiet. And it sounds mean to say. It sounds mean to say.
No. I was just going to say that some people will say, oh, like
no, I've heard autism moms. They're like, I wish I had that
to be
problem.
Quiet.
No, there's autism moms that are like, oh, I wish I had that problem. And I'm like, I'm so sorry. It sounds insensitive. But there's days that I'm just like, no. Come on, inside voice. Or I'm like, you know what? Aiden could be in his room. Mommy's going to be in her room. So mommy needs a little break right now. You know? But,
that's so good that you've built that with him. Right now, you know, my kids are still so young that, man, I'm still struggling with Eliana. You know, that's, you know, since we're talking about behaviors, that's one of the things we're still struggling with her. And it's letting her, you know, teaching her how to tell us how she's feeling. So she has her communication device where she can go and tell me, I feel, and I literally, you know, she could see the faces. But she still doesn't seem to be interested in getting to that point where I don't care how I feel right now. Like, y'all just got to deal with it. You know, it's the truth. You know, and I was telling the BCBA that I said, you know, that's something I would love the BT to work on with Eliana because she has the device. You know, it's not like she doesn't have something visual in front of her for her to understand. But I still don't think Eliana fully understands sad and happy. Like, because she's still having those, you know, mood swings. Same thing with Jacob. I mean, he just turned 3, so I can't expect too much from him. But with Eliana, I think that's always been a struggle.
So for me in the classroom, because the thing is, this is gonna be in September. I'm starting my 9th year as a special education teacher. So
Oh, wow. Go
yeah, so
you.
for in the classroom with my students, I use a mood meter, right? And they can point
Hmm.
to it if they're nonverbal, right? So I have the
Okay.
colors, right? Red, yellow, green, and blue, right? If you're in the green, you're calm, you're ready to learn.
Okay.
Red is
That
like,
sounds familiar.
red,
Mm-hmm.
angry, you're frustrated,
Mm-hmm.
whatever, whatever. Yellow is kind of like
Yep.
you're tired, and then blue is like you're sad, right? You're sad, you're upset,
Mm-hmm.
whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So the kids in the morning, I have a morning meet. I used to have a morning when I had a kindergarten and first grade. I used to have a morning meeting, right? I only had like 6 kids, so I
Mm.
could take my time with the morning meeting. So we would sing our morning meeting
Right.
song and, hey, fulanito, how do you feel today? Boom, and they put the color. And then I would like, because the thing is, they're so used to saying happy, 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 even if they're not happy.
Yeah.
So like,
Yeah.
I would make it my business to be like, okay, let's look at your behavior. Look what's happening right now. What's happening in your eyes? Your eyes are you have moisture in your, not moisture, obviously I wouldn't use that word. I was like, you have tears in your eyes, you're wet, and you're frowning. What kind of feeling are you having right now? And then I would use that as a teachable moment to show the other kids, okay, and it's okay to be sad, and it's
Right.
okay to be angry,
Right.
but we can get ourselves back to green. We can always get ourselves back to green.
Right.
So that,
I love
yeah,
that.
that's something that is I can send you a couple of books también about feelings.
I like that idea of the color chart because I didn't even think about
Yeah,
that.
I'll share the mood meter
And when
with
you
you.
mentioned it, we used to use that in the classroom with the kindergartens. And I'm like, oh, I think we're going red. And they would look at me like, Miss
But was
Santana.
that like a behavior thing, or because the thing is, there's like a behavior hierarchy, right? So if you're in the red, I'm gonna call your mom, whatever. But this one is like a completely different thing. It's like the mood meter is like you're telling me how you're feeling based on certain things. So one
Right.
of
Yeah, yours is
one
different.
of the BCBAs.
But what I mean is the colors.
No, yeah, yeah. So one of
Mm-hmm.
the BCBAs that
Mm-hmm.
used to work with us, actually, she's one of my, like, a really close friend of mine. Shout out to Cassie. She actually listens to the show. So she's in Louisiana, but
Nice.
when we were working together in District 75, she like made a song for the kids. So it's like, if you're yellow, you feel happy, let us know. I feel happy, right? And this was like part of our
Oh,
Fun Friday activity. So we would sing the mood song, and the kids would tell us how
I
they're
love
feeling. And
that.
if they're feeling like a certain way, like, it's okay. Because the thing is, with our kids, we can't like be like, oh no, that's not okay to feel bad or whatever. You're teaching social emotional learning, right? Like, it's okay to have a moment,
Mm-hmm.
but that doesn't mean that's gonna be like the whole day. Like, you're not. My thing with my
Right.
kids is always like, is it a big deal or a little deal? They're like, it's a little deal.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I love that you do that. First of all, I do need that. Send me in an email. How can I get that chart? How can I do that? Listen, girl, I will be at the store
Yeah,
tomorrow.
I
Like
mean,
I'm not
yeah,
playing.
yeah. No, I'll send it to you. You can print it out, and then I'll show you. I kind of like write down like how I use it, and then I
Yes.
feel like there's articles about it, but I'll definitely look it up for you.
That's amazing. You know why? Because that's something, I can have
Hmm.
downstairs. And whenever I do post it, I'll definitely shout you out for the help because I think this is why we need each other.
Yeah.
Because maybe the iPad is just too much for her. Maybe she is just like, I don't feel like touching this face.
Hmm.
I don't feel like hearing this lady telling me what to say. And she's becoming much more like I noticed more dismissive of the iPad. Because I feel like now she knows how to say I want. So
Mm.
now what I do is start the sentence. So I'll go, I want when she's pulling me
Hmm.
somewhere versus me getting out the couch. I'm like, I want. And that's how my husband and I,
Amazing.
when she's pulling us, because she knows how to say I want. And when she's like, because these kids are smart. Let me tell you, they're
This is what
smart.
I've been
Okay. They
telling
be trying it.
everybody. This is what I've been telling everybody. Especially the
They
kids that
be
are limited,
sneaky.
the kids that are limited verbal, that they have the words, but they choose not to use them.
Right.
Mira, I'm telling you, listen, if I could get a full meal prepared for me by just using my finger or pulling you to go to the kitchen, you think I'm gonna talk? No, no.
Exactly. We gotta work them, okay? And we got to work them. And I do. My daughter, it's my home. So I'm like, I want, I know her.
So that's
She be trying me,
that's
girl.
another thing that they teach in ABA too, right? So you have to refuse to give
Mm-hmm.
into a problem behavior.
Yeah, and that could be, some parents could find that as a bad thing because let's be real, we don't want no stranger or nobody else, not listening to our kids or like not giving in.
I mean,
That's what I want to say, not giving in.
if it's not the ABA, obviously you have to teach other people how to do it. But the thing is, like, refusing to give into the problem behavior. And I'm gonna tell you guys right now, once you start that,
Hmm.
you have to stick with it. Because the thing is, the
Yes.
behavior is gonna spike. So the way that behavior works, right? It starts very low, like it's a bell curve. So it starts very low, right? And then the behavior is gonna increase.
Hmm.
So in that increase
Yes.
stage, this is when parents want to be like, forget this. I'm gonna just
Right.
give them whatever they want
Uh-huh.
so I can stop the behavior from happening, right? If you guys stick with it, the child is gonna learn that no matter how many times
Hmm.
increase the intensity and the frequency of the behavior, they're not gonna get what they want. They're gonna learn that replacement behavior quicker. But guys,
Yep.
I'm telling you, take this with a grain of salt because you
Hmm.
have to be in the right mental state for that and like have
Yeah.
support as well. So like if you're getting to the point that you're getting to the frustration level, having somebody that'll tag team out and be like, "Yo, I got you. Go take a walk
Right.
and then come back." You know.
Like me and my
Mhm.
husband, we have to tag team. So when he comes home from work, I've already know what Eliana has been asking for. So when he gets home, and I know that she's gonna go to her
A
dad because
tapia.
she's like, "Oh,
That's
new person, right?" She's like, "New person, let me tackle him." And I look at him and I'm like, "No, babe, she's been asking for this specific thing the whole time. She hasn't had a sandwich.
yeah,
You get what I'm saying?
yeah.
So ella quiere chips without having sandwich. That's not breakfast. I'm sorry. I'm not feeding you that right now. Now,
Mm.
I'm going to be honest with you. There are days
They're just like
where
have the
I'm like,
chips.
man,
Ya
I'm
está
over
bueno.
it, yo.
Yeah.
Se acabó. Like, I'm giving in. Just have the chips. Mira, I'm going to give you like a whole bowl filled with chips and just, I don't want to hear it. But
A
then
good
there
thing
are
is
more days
an if
where,
then board también for her, like a visual. That'll be like a visual reminder. So like let's say that she's
yeah,
working for chips and you want her to do something specifically. You put the picture of what it is that she's working for. If you do whatever, put your
yeah,
toys in the box, then you get chips. If you do
exactly,
this, but you
exactly.
have to always pair it with a non-desired activity with something that's super
Mm-hmm,
stimulating. So for her, it's chips or fruit roll-ups, right? So just make sure you
mm-hmm,
pair it together because if you're just asking them to do things and do
exactly.
things and do things without a reward, it's not gonna incentivize it. It's not gonna make them want to do it for you. Also, it's
Yeah.
gonna get to a
Uh-huh.
point once you teach them the replacement behaviors, you're not gonna need to give them anything. They're just gonna do it because they know that is the right thing.
No, and you know what? With Eliana, what I've noticed with her, and again, this may not be every child,
Mm-hmm.
but girl, when I'm like, I just ignore her. There are times where I'm like, she's gonna keep asking and asking and asking. And let's say she did have the sandwich and I already gave her, the item that she wanted, chips
Mm-hmm.
per se. And she continues, she becomes obsessed. That's the thing with her.
Mm-hmm.
So what we've noticed as well, Eliana has a sleep medication that she's had for a couple years now because Eliana used to struggle a lot with sleeping when she was younger. In the beginning of her diagnosis, Eliana's sleep pattern was all over the place, Marcy. I mean, I'm talking about she'll go to sleep at 11 o'clock. It's up at 3 o'clock in the morning. Could be up until like 9 o'clock
Aiden
in the
has his
morning. And
moments like
then,
that too.
I mean, it was just so
I
bad.
can relate.
Yeah, it was bad. So went to the neurologist. She prescribed a medication, but she did tell me this medication can awaken her appetite. So she's going to be hungry much more. So, girl, we already know. We already know. So I stopped. I stopped giving it to her. So we only do melatonin gummings before bed. And I have them on a routine. By this time, they're already in the room with their device and they're chilling, they're bathed, they're good. And that's it, routine. That's something
Yeah.
that it's huge with kids on the spectrum. It's a routine. I could be somewhere at this time. I have to be out the
Yeah.
house. All right, y'all, catch you another time. I got to get home.
Mm-hmm.
because it could be rough when you break that.
Yep.
So yeah, that's what I do, girl. When she's like, I want to eat, and she goes, ella me quiere dominar.
Yeah.
By doing that, and I'm like,
Of
nope,
course,
I'm not giving
because
in,
this is
girl.
the thing.
You'll be
Like, it's
okay.
worked before, so the thing with them is that they're gonna continue to resort to the thing that works. So, definitely, like we said, visual supports, right? Also, start small and set achievable goals. Don't
Yes.
don't go from like 0 to 100. Like, you gotta go to 0 to 10. After you get to 10, then you
Yeah,
go to
gradually.
20. Break whatever it is that you want the end goal to be, break it down into steps. So for example, like, let's say
Yes.
you want to teach your child to clean their room, right? You're not gonna set the goal like clean your room. I'm not gonna tell Aiden go fix your
Right. They
whole
don't.
room. He does no. First, we gotta learn how to put the clothes in the hamper. That's the only thing I want you to do. That's what we're gonna work on. That's achievable, right? That's something that we can achieve short term. So that's another thing. You break the thing in a certain amount of time. Once a child does that consistently, then you move on to the next step. It takes longer and it takes a lot of work, but it's worth it in the end. Because let me tell you, Aiden is not the same Aiden that started. Like, I've actually met up with this ABA therapist from when he was little until now. She's like, wow, it's like a different kid. She's like, it's a different kid
Right.
completely. But it's the consistency. You have to be consistent.
Consistency and that routine. She tries to get away with certain things because she's tough. Eliana's very strong. You see her there, she's strong. And she's determined. This girl knows what she wants. And she won't give up until she gets it. So it could take a lot of like energy from my husband and I to be like, no is no. That's it. And I talk to her strong. I'm like, no, no. I'll start off easy, real sweet. Once she gets to a certain point and she knows that mommy is being stern, mommy said no, it's no. And I sit on my couch and I'm watching my show. Y yo la dejo. Como dice mami, ellos no lloran sangre.
Yeah, no.
They're not crying blood.
And then the thing is, like, another thing I teach my students is like, not right now. That's not an option right now.
Right.
Maybe later on, but not right now. Right. And I feel like that is a little bit more especially for the kids that have a hard time visualizing, like, not right now. That doesn't mean no. So I won't spaz out. But that means that en este momento no.
Right. And I also say later.
Yeah.
I'll tell her later. The thing with Eliana now is she's doing a lot of repeating. Echolalia. That's what they call it. And she's repeating. So I'll go later. She goes later. And then she's like, I want to eat chips. I want to eat chips. Later, Ellie. Later, okay? Or sandwich first. And then chips. Yep. And she's still like pointing and pointing and pointing. Eventually, though, Marcy, she gives up.
Yeah. Because she knows you're not going to budge.
They're not going to be the entire day. She knows that mommy's not going to do it. But like I said, there are days where we're like, man, especially that week, she was having a whole meltdown back to back every single day. I said, I know. This is not the week. I don't got the energy this week. I can't.
Another thing I want to say is once they can do the expectation that you have, you can increase demands over time because you already know that they have mastered the thing. So once Ellie starts saying independently, I want whatever it is that she wants, then you can add more words to the sentence, like please or whatever it is, or like more descriptive,
Yeah.
But okay, you have to make sure that once they achieve that, then you can add the demands to that because you already know they're successful in that thing that you taught them already.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, so definitely, consistency, patience, pray, take a break. I feel like it takes a lot, but it's rewarding, guys. It's so rewarding when your child is doing those things that you wanted them to do. It takes a village. And if you need to ask for a break, you got your digital comadre over here, and you got people.
Yes.
If you don't have other people, we have people. We're gonna start. I'm actually gonna try to see if I can set up like some kind of Facebook group or something. I mean, I have a Facebook page, but like a group for moms, so we can support each other.
Yeah, that would be amazing. I had one at some point, but
It takes a lot to
it
manage,
was just
right?
becoming so
And it's
hard.
overwhelming a
Yeah,
little bit.
it
Yeah.
is. It is. And I have so much, girl, that I'm like, I'm part of this women's ministry. I got to preach tomorrow.
Girl, you got a lot of
I've been
stuff
preparing
going
for
on. God
that.
bless you, because Mina.
Listen, I'm actually working on making it real, just telling people a little bit more about myself.
Yeah.
And because I get a lot of messages of mom like, Nani, how you do? Like, how are you always seem to be so like happy and so. Well, first of all, prayer.
Yeah.
I have to say, having a prayer life does work, okay? I'm not trying to be religious. I'm just trying to tell y'all, me and Jesus understand each other, okay? And I'll be ranting, I'll be venting, I'll be having all type of things, okay? He gets me. He knows me. So for me, that's something I have to say really helps me.
Mm-hmm.
And also getting my nails done, like today, hubby got home and I was like, I'm out to the nail salon.
Good. So you do
Mira,
do practice
la uña
self-care.
was already getting like, my nails were already getting stuck in my hair. And I said, If I could feel the hairs in my nails, it's time to get these nails done.
Yeah.
That's it.
So you do practice self-care. That's
promote
important.
a lot. Yeah. Self-care is huge. And I feel bad because I know that some of you moms listening don't have that advantage.
Yeah.
You may not have a significant other and just pick up and leave once they get home, or you may not have family close by. So I can't even, imagine.
Even if
because
it's
I'm home all
after
day
the
and
kids
it's
are
like,
sleeping, even if it's after the kids are sleeping that you take 15 minutes to paint your nails, or you take those 15 minutes after they're sleeping to take a shower, not a shower, a bath, a bubble bath. With essential oils, turn on your little candle, listen to meditation music. 15 minutos, 15 minutes. I'm not going to tell you everything. If you can do it 2 times a week, 1 time a week, and gradually increment that. It's important, because the thing is, we can't be great moms if we're not pouring into ourselves.
Right. Yeah. No, I'm all about, girl, getting this hair done, getting these nails done. I'm real girly. I needs to be in the nail salon. I'm telling you, that's something my mother taught me, and I still listen.
So the people that are not,
at least I get my dinner done.
Yeah.
Clean the house. I need a clean house too. I cannot.
The people that are now watching the YouTube video, Jormari is very, very beautiful, and she's well put together. Okay, because you know how your comadre is. Okay, but on that note, we're gonna end the podcast how we always end it, which is follow me at Comadreando Pod on Instagram, and you can follow Jormari at, what's your handle?
Awesome Behavior Mama. So awesome as in AU, some Behavior Mama.
Awesome. And then if you have any questions for me or Jormari, please make sure that if you have any questions for me or Jormari, to send me an email at marcy@comadreandopod.com, or slide up into my DMs. All right, bye.
Bye.
Hello, comadre.
Hey, comadre.
Do you have a minute for comadre time?